being vulnerable is actually a positive trait. I think a lot of people now in the world today, because things are so harsh and invasive, that people have become too invulnerable. They don't want to let anything in, right? And this now infects their relationships with other people. They don't want to be influenced. They want to be strong inside of themselves. They're afraid of giving in to the other person, of surrendering to their influence. But it's actually a delightful feeling to surrender to the power of another person and then reverse that charge and have them surrender to your power. So when I'm reading a writer, and sometimes they completely seduce me. Friedrich Nietzsche is one of my favorite writers. I let go of everything. I let him enter my brain, and I'm completely seduced. I let him lead me along. But then I encounter writers that I don't like at all. I'll mention one, probably not a good thing, but I don't like Steven Pinker. I find him really annoying, okay? But I force myself to try and find a way to be seduced by him, to let him into my brain, to see where he's coming from, to open myself to the possibility that he could be correct. So vulnerability, letting people into your mental space, is a form of intelligence, an emotional and an intellectual intelligence.
And forgive me for interrupting, but I think it also implies a level of confidence, because empathy, or allowing oneself to be vulnerable to the point where you're seduced by something, by definition, if you're choosing to do it, implies that you also have the confidence that you can get back to yourself afterward.
Of course.
Right? That you're not going to get lost in the circumstances. That you're not going to be hijacked to the point of no return.
Right.
Or in some way that's detrimental to you.
That's right.
So it's sounding really nerdy here. It's collinear with confidence in many ways. Sure, take my mind and take it where you will, because I know I can come back at any time.
Right. And the same thing in a physical seduction, in a romantic sense, right? You're opening yourself up to the charm, to the energy of the other person. But if they start displaying dark energy and you see that they're abusive or something is wrong, you have the ability to retreat.
Well, there it
gets very tricky.
Well, because the attachment systems, which are also rooted in childhood, oftentimes can overwhelm one's ability to recover oneself. If I had $1 for every time someone that I knew in my life saying, like, I know they're bad for me, but we just can't seem to disengage. Like that, you hear about that all the time. I see court cases about this that are public, and you just go, why didn't they just walk away from one another? Well, because once those attachment systems are locked, it almost becomes, and here metaphorically speaking, like a parent-child relationship. Like, can't suddenly decide your parents weren't your parents.
Right.
Simply because you know better now. Right. You are forever stricken with the reality that they were, and they had an influence. And I think that attachment system is a force that tugs pretty hard